How plants cool the planet. Plants as carbon, water and heat pumps. The normal system is you've got the heat energy coming down and it's trapped by plants. Plants are basically solar energy transformation engines, and they've evolved to do an extraordinary thing. They manage both carbon and water, and in doing so they are the key to managing climate on this planet. And the essence is there's two things that operate in parallel inside plants. One is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is how they manage solar energy and carbon. I'm sure you probably know this from school, but they take that solar energy and they use the solar energy to split water molecules and carbon dioxide molecules into carbon, and hydrogen and oxygen. And they throw out the oxygen, or some of it, which goes into the air, which is good news for us. But they use the carbon and the hydrogen and some of the remaining oxygen to build carbohydrates, which are sugars and starches and lignins, celluloses, all the things they build their bodies from. And the carbohydrates, the sugars and the starches are like a natural battery, because those are the things that are distributed by the plants through the whole ecosystem, through their fruits or pumped out through their roots and in their leaves as food for us, food for animals. You can think of that solar energy to be turned into chemical energy inside those compounds, and that's distributed through the entire biosphere as a kind of living chemical battery. All that solar energy is not dangerous anymore. It's been stabilized into a safe form and just stored and used by all life through the coming year to do everything it needs to do. So plants transform the dangerous heat energy into a stable store. And they're also regulating the water cycle, because you can think of plants as they are solar energy transformation machines, but they're also pumps. There are exactly three types of pumps. They're pumping carbon, they take carbon and they pump it mostly underground. Lots of the sugars that they produce is pumped into the soil, and there it feeds the bacteria and the fungi and the worms and all the things that help to create a healthy soil. And that's what's known as a liquid carbon cycle. So they're pumping carbon from the air down into the earth, and they're pumping water from the ground back up into the atmosphere, where it forms clouds and brings the rain again in a natural cycle. So they're pumping water up and carbon down. As that water goes up, it changes in the leaves of the plants. It changes from a liquid to a vapor, which is a gas. That change from liquid to gas, like water in a kettle, it needs energy in order to happen. And they take this energy from what's called latent heat in their surroundings. Latent heat is heat energy that's all around us. We can't feel it, but it's there all the time. And they take that latent heat to power the change from liquid to gas. And as they do that, it cools the plants, but it also cools the whole environment. And that water vapor rises back up and forms clouds. When the vapor gets cold enough, it condenses into droplets again and forms a cloud. And that cloud brings the rain in a manageable cycle. And the cloud also is reflective. So it reflects some of the solar energy directly back up. So that's another way that the water cools us. And when those water vapor molecules become liquid, they release the energy they've been carrying. The latent heat gets released, can go back into space. So the third type of pumps that plants are is their heat pumps. They're carbon pumps, they're water pumps, and their heat pumps is exactly the same process that's happening inside a fridge or an air conditioner. Going from liquid to gas, carrying heat, pumping it round and round, and spitting the heat out where it does no harm. Plants are the key to climate cooling. Plants and water are the key to climate cooling. And this is a whole story that's been overlooked by what they call the dominant narrative on net zero. It's not to say that net zero is wrong. It's not wrong, but it's got challenges. It's got challenges, as I said earlier. It's incredibly difficult thing to achieve, but it's not something that most ordinary communities can contribute to. You know, it's all about governments and big corporations.